Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Scriven County ITC TV. I'm your Instructional Technology Coach, Marlene Harris. In this episode, we'll learn how to configure the Lanschool toolbar so that the most useful tools are easily accessible. And we'll see a brief demonstration of those tools. Let's begin by opening our teacher console. There are two ways to do this. You can go to your Start menu, All Programs, and the Lanschool teacher will be in the list. You can click on it from here. The other option is to go down to the bottom right taskbar and see the icon there. And if you hover over that icon, you'll see the channel number you're currently tuned into, the version number, and the IP address. Okay? So the first thing you need to do is identify the student channel number and make sure you're tuned into the same channel that the student is tuned into. On your student computer, you will hover over their icon and identify their channel number, and then you can change yours if needed. All right, so I'm going to click here to open the panel. And if I needed to change my channel number, I would go to the Administer menu and go to Preferences. And in this box, if I want to use multiple channels, if my students are on different channels, I can include multiple channels, just separate with a comma. Or if I'm using a single channel, I can use this option over here. Oops, 650. Okay. All right. The next thing we need to do is talk about how to get these tools across the top of your toolbar. To do that, you'll go to your View menu and configure your toolbar. And this window opens and it allows you to choose the tools that you would like to add. And you select it and click Add, and then it populates in this menu over here. If there are any over here that you want to delete, you simply choose them and then remove. I'll attach a list of the recommended tools for you to add to your toolbar, and you can configure your toolbar as needed. Okay, but let me show you some of the tools that I already have set up on my toolbar. And this is all preference. You may choose to add different icons than what I have, or you may use the same ones. The first one is Run. Run actually allows you to send any or all of your student desktops to a certain website. So if you want all your students to be tuned in to a certain website, if you do not choose any of the icons here, it defaults and chooses everyone. If you want to choose just one, then you need to make sure you select that one, and you can tell it's selected because it's highlighted in red. Okay, and then you click Run. I'm going to unselect that so all of my computers will go to the website. And I'm going to send them to a certain website. So you put your URL in this address bar down here and just click OK. And our student desktops will soon navigate to that website. Okay. The next icon is your remote control icon. To use the remote control icon, you have to select one student. So I'm going to select this student, and now my remote control is highlighted. I can use the drop-down menu and I can choose either to view or to remote control. If you remote control them, then you now have control over their mouse. You're the one that's controlling it, and until you release the control, they are not going to be able to do anything on their desktop. Okay, so I've navigated them where I wanted them to be, and now I'm ready to release control. So I'll go back to my control and stop viewing or remote control. Okay, now that student has control of their computer again. The next icon is a view. You can change the view all the way from Details, which just gives you a list view of it, which I'm not sure how helpful that will be to you. I prefer to look at the icons, and you can change the size of the icons from small, medium, large, extra large, or you can choose Best Fit, and the screen will choose the best size for you. Pause a second for our bell. The next tool is the Snapshot tool. If you choose one computer, you can actually take a snapshot, and you now have a snapshot of what is currently going on that student's computer. So if your student is having an issue that you need to take a snapshot of, or if they're doing something they're not supposed to, you can take a quick snapshot before they have a chance to navigate away from that page. And it'll ask you where you want to save it, and you can decide where on your computer you want to save that snapshot. Okay? The next is message. You could message any or all of your students. You can give them directions. You can ask them to close their netbooks, whatever you need them to do, okay? In the message menu, it will give you the last 10 messages that you've used. So if it's a message that you send often, you won't have to retype them. You can select just one student, or by default, all. The next icon is a blank screen. If you choose blank screen, it will give the students a blue screen, and you can modify the message on that screen by configure blank message screen. And in here, you can type in whatever you want the message to be. Okay? And to unblank, you simply click in the menu, or you can just toggle back and forth using that same icon. All right, Limit Web is an icon that will allow you to only allow the students on certain websites. And again, our bell. You can choose to block all websites if they're working on a PowerPoint or something in particular. You don't want them to be distracted by the internet. You can block all websites. You can configure an allow list. Say you only had 4 websites that you only wanted your students to be on. You can choose the allow list. Or if you have a block list, if you know a certain website you do not want them to go to, you can create a block list. To use either the allow or the block list, you have to configure those lists first. And you simply come in here and type in the websites that you would like to block. Pandora.com, whatever website you do not want them to go to. And up here is the allowed websites. If you only want them to go to 3 sites, you type in those 3 sites and then apply. Okay? Limit apps works very much like the same way. You can allow certain apps, such as your calculator. You can block the calculator from being used on the computer. Again, you have to configure that list of apps that are allowed or are blocked. If you have your computers hooked up to a classroom printer, you can limit the printing. In other words, if you limit printing, they cannot print anymore. You can limit the USB drives. If you do not want them to be able to plug in anything into the USB drive and download or access files on a USB, you simply limit the drives and they can no longer use that USB drive. Okay? You can mute all of the computers. Or you can, again, select individuals to mute. You can clear their desktop. If at the end of the day they have several things open all at once, you can clear their desktop for them. You can send files to students. If you have an assignment on your computer that you would like to send to the students' computers, just choose Send File. And I always use a special folder and use this drop-down menu here. I like to put my folder on the desktop so it's easy for the students to find. I don't want them to have to go into the root menu and look for their folder, so I put it directly on their desktop. And then I search for the file that I want to send to them and type it in up here and click Send Now. And now each of my students will have a file folder on their desktop called Lanschool, and inside that file folder they will have this file. Okay? And when you're finished, click Finished. You can shut down all of your student computers with one click of a button here. You can choose a random student. Click on Choose Random. And that's the student that I want to call on to share their report or share what they're doing. Refresh is also a valuable tool because sometimes there's a little bit of a lag between what's actually happening on the student computer and what you're seeing on the teacher console. So if you click refresh, it will update your view and then you see exactly what's going on at that moment. Okay, so these are the basic tools that we find useful in Lanschool. If you'll remember that if you open Lanschool while the students are on their computers, Lanschool is recording all of their keystroke history, all of their internet history, and you can always go back and view that in the Administer menu. I believe that's where that's found. Let's see. Monitor, I'm sorry, it's in the Monitor menu. If you have the Monitor menu open, you can view the student internet history, the keystroke and application history, and you can also see the students running programs, so they can't hide a program in the background from you. Okay? Play around with some of the other things that are in this menu. You may find some things that are more helpful to you than the ones that I have shown you, and if so, go to your configuration of your toolbar and add or delete the icons as you need. Thank you very much. Please let me know if I can help you any further with Lanschool.